past couple of months, Neil Gaiman has been accused of some pretty terrible things, and now his book publishers and also Hollywood are dropping him like a rock. And I can't say I feel all that bad, because while I am a firm believer in innocent until proven guilty, he is one of the people who said believe all women just a few years ago, and that women can't be liars. And now that Netflix is announcing The Sandman is canceled, it seems that he's probably panicking. But before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, yes, I am a firm believer in innocent until proven guilty, but with Neil Gaiman, the situation is very different, because he helped perpetuate the cancel mobs that exist today. And now that they're ruining his career, I'm not going to show up and defend him. He is one of the most insufferable male feminists out there, and now he is reaping what he sowed. So, Netflix had just announced 2 days ago that The Sandman will be coming to an end with season 2. While it's obvious they are quietly ending the show because of his involvement, their bizarre advertising campaign acts like it was always intended to end this way. So it seems that Netflix is just, yes, one of the many companies within this industry right now that is trying to find a very quick way out of this situation. Now, what will be very telling is if any actors come forward and say, like, hey, listen, we were always supposed to do another season. This was always the plan, and now they're changing it because they don't want to work with this guy anymore. But they're trying to portray it like it was always supposed to end this way, which is absolutely ridiculous. But he has faced a slew of cancellations just this week, with Dark Horse Comics announcing they would be removing the Anansi Boys from their upcoming publication schedule. Pratchett's estate assuring Good Omens graphic novel backers he would not be getting any funds from the campaign. A stage production of Coraline being canceled in the UK, and his agent dropping him. But all I can really say is boo-hoo, cry me a river, and float upstream. However, though, the woes for him don't stop there, as Netflix began their advertising campaign for season 2 of The Sandman, the adaptation of his infamous work from DC Comics. However, upon inspection of the marketing images, it's interesting to spot that they relabeled the season the final season. I personally was not like the biggest fan of The Sandman on Netflix, but I did still think that it was decent. Yes, there were some changes, there were some race swaps and some gender swaps, and luckily they did pick a lot of really fantastic actors and actresses to take up these roles, but he didn't do it because, oh, when he wrote it, he felt like he made a mistake, or it would have been so much better if this character was a female, or that character was a male, or this character was a person of color. No, he did it to virtue signal because he saw that it was trendy within Hollywood. And this has been happening so much. Look at what Brandon Sanderson has been doing. Years and years ago, he had his own opinions because he is a Mormon. And now, of course, he's changed his tune. He's putting out statements all the time talking about how he respects the LGBTQ community. And if he always felt that way, it would be one thing, but he used to say the basically complete opposite, and he's only doing it now and talking about how he stands with all these sorts of people because he sees that it leads to more money, because publishers want to make more special editions of his books, and he's getting TV shows and movies. He's only doing it because he's virtue signaling. Same thing with Neil Gaiman. He used to not make statements about fans or attack us as racists or sexists for criticizing things like race swapping in the Rings of Power or in his own shows, but he's saying that now because he sees it's trendy in Hollywood. And I get it, right? These people just want to make money, but at the end of the day, all you're doing is making yourself look like a buffoon who does not stand for anything, whose stance will shift because of a few extra dollars. The Sandman producer had said that John Constantine's gender swapped for Netflix series because Neil Gaiman wanted it to be as inclusive as possible. He could have written it this way originally, but he didn't, because he didn't care about inclusivity. He just cared about writing what he wanted to write. But he's changing his tune now because he sees he can make a few extra dollars from it. The Sandman creator, Neil Gaiman, had explained why Tom Sturridge won't be a Snow White dream in the live action Netflix series. He said Sandman has actually always been woke, which is just so hilarious. He responded to criticisms of race swap casting of Death in the Netflix Sandman series, and he basically said, boo hoo, I made this decision, and you can not watch it if you don't want to. And all of these things have, yes, made him look extremely petty. I'm not crying over the fact that this is the final season, but I do know it had a pretty dedicated fan base, though fans and media have speculated that the show has indeed been canceled, with Variety writing an article on the topic. It would make sense given the allegations by 11 different women to date regarding his sexual assault. Now, again, this is a lot of women. And while there are a lot of women, typically, I think that things should be handled in a court of law. I do not think that people should have their careers completely ruined over accusations being made online, but he has not responded in a way that someone would if they were innocent. He's basically just angry that people are talking about this situation. It doesn't sound like there's any, oh my God, I'm innocent and I need to prove myself, like sticking points with his speeches and his statements. And, well, if he's not going to defend himself, why should other people too? Now, moreover, women have been warning about him for years, with 9 women now making allegations about him, according to recent reports, and he's given signs throughout his works with his creepy fetishes inserted into books like The Sandman, as well as his virtue signaling about his polyamorous lifestyle with Amanda Palmer, which you can do what you want in your free time, but it is pretty weird that, like, he constantly makes this a sticking point in his work and talks about it. But at the end of the day, Neil Gaiman is just a cringy male feminist. And just a few years ago, he was one of the guys saying, oh yeah, we need to believe all women. But now he's saying, oh, all of these women are liars. Like, when you constantly virtue signal about something, typically it means that you are also guilty of that thing. Like, you're trying to overcompensate so nobody ever finds out that you, in fact, are one of these pieces of shit. And now he's really just getting a taste of his own medicine. And like this article says, Terry Pratchett's estate offered the Good Omens Kickstarter backers refunds and assured readers Neil Gaiman will receive no proceeds. I was always very upset with Good Omens because he basically took Terry Pratchett's work and completely sidelined it, and he wanted to be the highlight of the Good Omens show with Amazon. And he, of course, is the one who is alive, so he's the one who can go on all of these press tours, so he was really the only one that was being highlighted. And when it comes to Good Omens, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, people like this too, and well, now that is also canceled, but Dark Horse had just dropped him too. So we have a lot of Neil Gaiman cancellation going on here. So yes, ultimately, I'm not going to sit here and defend this male feminist when he in the past had said believe all women, and now he's changing his tune saying except for these, I think there's 9 at this point, which is really a crazy amount of people to have come forward. So it will be interesting to see who else drops Neil, if he makes any other statements, or if he starts to melt down on social media. But things are definitely not looking good for him, and it seems like his career is basically over. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.